Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 192. Here we are on the 10th of March, 2021. And I think we're live. I think we're actually live. I'm just going to confirm and see if the chat room comes up here. If anybody's out there, please send us a note if you're watching. I'm just trying to bring it up on another machine.
I'm pulling up the chat. I do see us. Our lovely faces.
We are there. We are there, and what do we got? We got one watching. That might be me.
That's all right.
So we have we're beginning at a low number.
Well, I mean, we psyched him out for 2 years, and then we had one show, and then we broke the system, and it came back.
That's true. That's true. Came back just this week.
So we're live now.
We're up to 3. There we go. Out. It's starting to roll. Okay, fantastic. Welcome everybody to the show. With us, per usual, we have Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello. I am doing very well now that I'm here, hanging out with my friends, talking Tesla. Good times.
Fantastic. How's the weather out there today?
It's beautiful. Yep. This is so cool. We're still getting lots of solar power. Batteries charge up. They run the house in the evening, and then they run it again in the morning before the sun is up. And then during the day, they recharge. So this is just working out awesome. I love having these batteries.
And look, we got our first interaction. It's JT saying hello. So we're up and running. Fantastic.
All right.
Welcome, JT. Also, we've got Mr. Casey Green joining us from the D.C. area. How are you today, sir?
Doing quite well. It's quite a balmy day out, and we've got some news coming up that I'm excited about. So it's good all around.
It's good all around. Fantastic.
No spoilers.
And even way up here in the north, we've got some warm weather. So things are looking up. We've got more vaccines going in arms of people here in Ontario. It's all looking brighter every day. So
spring is springing.
That's right.
Spring is sprung.
Spring is sprung. Exactly. Well, let's get started. We got news, lots of news. Patrick's going to lead us off with a bit of a fun story. What's going on there, Patrick?
Yeah. So we wanted to start off with the bad news so the show goes uphill from here. So since we last met, there have been a few bits of information that I thought we had to address. And if you've followed Tesla for a long time, you know that the fudsters, the Q, the shorters, they have all been out to paint Tesla in the worst possible light whenever they can, often for their own financial benefit. And since Tesla has joined the S&P 500, that has seemed to have died away. And no, they want to make sure that we all remember that they're out there and that they've got some moves left. And so let's talk about these 3 things. 1, there was a report that Tesla is losing market share. 2, report. 2, there was a report that Tesla has no intention of ever doing hands-free driving, ever. That's just not in their plans at all. And 3, of course, that Elon is dead. That Elon died, and
the related Grimes has died.
Oh, wow, yeah. So we briefly to talk about each one of these. So there was a report that Tesla's market share has dropped from 81% to 69%. And well, it depends on how you slice and dice. This is a headline written by or for people who can't do math. And there's no way that you would expect Tesla to have 81% of the automotive market share as just not. No, that's not ever going to happen. That one company, when there's so many auto companies out there, that they're ever going to have 81% share. So as EVs become more of the market, Tesla's going to drop down in their market share to something like 25% and of this total market when it's all EVs. And so the fact that they went from 81 to 69 in some slice and dice is not surprising at all. And to make it look like, oh my God, they're losing market share is just negative hype, clickbait headlines. And they are selling more cars every year than they have the year before, growing 40 to 50%. And so to say that that's losing market share is just, like I said, a headline by or for people who can't do math. I'm not going to dwell on each of these.
Not to mention that the F-150 and the Camry don't have anywhere near 80% of the market, and they are the top 2 selling automobiles in the country, in the world sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, the real headline there should have been, wow, Tesla has an amazing market share in these segments. So that was just in some destinations, in some sites, it was presented in the worst possible light. Then the second one.
Well, before you go on the same point, if their mission is to succeed and other people are to also make EVs, then by definition their percent of the pie will go down. But if everybody's selling more than before, what does it matter?
Exactly. Yeah, that is. They want to accelerate the advent of electric transportation, and they cannot have 100% of the market. So they want other people to come in and to have good competitive products, because in the past the cars that were out there were not competitive. So the fact that there are finally some things that have met Tesla 2012 is great. Because before they were all falling so short of that. So the next one is navigate on city streets. So Tesla, one of their general counsel was writing a letter to the California DMV talking about this feature and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be legal. And as part of that, they said that the navigate on city streets was a part of their full self-driving package, and that feature alone was never going to be completely hands-free. And if you go on and read the whole thing, they talk about how it's this one piece that they're building. It's really a driver assist feature, and that it requires the driver to be attentive. And until they have full self-driving, the total package, that it will be an ADAS. And so there's no surprise there. We say this on every show. Hey, I'm so excited about this new update, but it's not level 5, so stay attentive. And make sure that you're being a responsible driver. If you're sitting behind the wheel, that's your responsibility. And that's pretty much the same thing that this lawyer said, and this got, again, taken and painted in the worst possible light of, Tesla says it's never going to be full self-driving. No, they said the navigate on city streets portion of full self-driving is not a complete package that allows you to be hands-free. So,
And worse, it wasn't even that they were proclaiming this. This was in response to somebody asking, will you take the liability? They're like, why were we taking liability for?
Yeah,
it's not self-driving yet.
Exactly. Yes, they were clarifying that it is still the driver's responsibility, and that's, again, not a surprise to anybody who's really following it. But if you can make a negative-looking headline, make some FUD about Tesla, get some people who are just casually, not following it like everybody who's watching our show. So another FUD move, and then the last one. This one is just heinous. Friday of last week, there was this rumor started that Elon Musk had died, and they had faked headlines, they had photoshopped things, they had this photoshopped tweet from Grimes talking about how she lost the love of her life, and this is straight up market manipulation. I mean, it was launched at the beginning of the market open on Friday, and Clean Technica has a great article out there about how the SEC should be investigating this. I hope they already are. That there was pretty clearly a coordinated effort from a small group of people behind this. And I don't know what their motives were. Were they just trying to be pranksters or get some internet fame, or were they trying to do market manipulation, stock manipulation? I don't know. But it was just like all three of these have happened. And there was even... so anyway, on the good side of it, the stock did have a down week, but if you were watching and you were like, hey, these are not real news, and whatever they're doing here is obviously going to pass, the truth will out, I bought stock. This is not stock advice unless you have a time machine, in which case you don't need stock advice from me. No.
And you're not listening to this podcast, I guarantee it.
Yeah, so I ended up picking up some shares at $5.50, and now today it's over $6.70, and it has been over 700. So it was over 100 points in one day yesterday. So
that's cool.
that's great. I'd love to buy Tesla stock on sale. So as much as I think these fundsters were horrible, sending out all the wrong message, in the worst case being completely lying, hey, if you are a believer, there was a good chance to pick up some shares.
I wish it would go on sale when I actually had a payday. So this one, I mean, they've always had their folks that would stretch the lie, damn lies and statistics, yes, but
Yes.
And there were people who would lie before, but this is a new level of despicable, disgusting behavior. I mean, not just to lie, make some stuff up, but to say that people had died, and then to fake headlines and to try and. I hope the SEC goes after these people and they go to Martha Stewart's jail for longer than she did.
She has her own wing. That's funny.
Dedication.
They could go worse, but I mean, imagine that if they have any money, they would probably end up where she did.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That was it a coordinated effort? Was there something behind it to drive down the price of the stock, or what that was? We probably won't know for quite some time if we were ever to know about it. But it is interesting that the fundsters have not all disappeared. They're out there kind of just waiting in the weeds, looking for an opportunity. It looks like what happened this week. So we'll certainly keep our eye on that. But on to our next story. This was a story published at Teslarati, and this group had looked at the foreseeable future in the EV market, where things are today, how, and it kind of blends into Patrick's story as well, showing that Tesla is definitely in the lead when it comes to EV cars sales at this point. Certainly their production, how they operate, battery costs, all these different things that combine to make Tesla basically the top of the heap at this point. And this article went into, at some point, Tesla will not be the complete king of the hill when everybody goes electric, when all vehicles become electric, when all different aspects of types of vehicles go electric. At some point, Tesla, as Patrick mentioned, the market share will drop because you've got all these different manufacturers now dumping EVs into the market. They're going to sell some, and any, of course, one sale takes away the total market from anybody else that's in that market at that time, including Tesla. So certainly this article was talking about how Tesla may not be the king of the hill forever, but their point was, for the foreseeable future, that we can see what's going on in the market at this time. And, within the next at least few years, Tesla will be the king of the hill because they've continued to innovate and add things to their cars, added range, dropped prices, brought in new models. And of course, we know the other models are coming: the Cybertruck, the Semi, the Roadster. The refreshed Model S and X are about to be delivered this month. So all these things are combining that Tesla, for the foreseeable future, they believe will be king of the hill. But they're also indicating that, down the road, when everybody gets in the game, everyone's market share goes down. But that doesn't mean sales go down. Tesla sales continue to go up based on the number of vehicles they're producing, based on factories opening, based on the amount that they actually sell. That is continuing to go up, even though in the far off future, it's definitely going to be, they won't be the highest percentage like they are today with 81% or 80%. So just something to keep in mind as we move along, and as this market matures and more manufacturers get into the game and start producing in mass.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this just validates Tesla's strategy of this is the direction the market's going. And for a long time, the argument from the other side was nobody even wants an EV. So now when all the car makers are making EVs, it kind of says, oh yeah, that is the direction. And like you said, Mark, all the places that are going to have mandates where, by 2030 or 2035, you cannot sell a gas car in whatever state or region or county or country or province. So yeah, it's coming. It's a coming, people.
Look at all the people who have used cars in Norway that they have to take them to the mainland if they want to get rid of them at a reasonable price, because nobody wants to take on the liability of having a car they can't use anymore.
That's true. Yeah, as the technology changes, nobody wants an iPhone 3 anymore.
Yeah, the market definitely dropped for that, didn't it?
Worse, nobody wants a 2G phone because you can't connect it to anything.
Right. Yes. Yeah. When the gas stations start closing, it's going to be really hard to sell a used gas car.
Exactly. Just wanted to share this photo that we had spotted on the interweb this week. And this, of course, is the, successful / self-destructing SN10 that happened earlier in the week, where, of course, it made a successful launch up to its proper height. It came down and it landed with a bit of a thud. But it did land and stay upright until a methane leak, I believe, caught fire and exploded the resting rocket as it stood upright on the pad. But what was kind of cool in this photo, and this was taken by Everyday Astronaut, he of course was covering the launch and in this case the cleanup. But what was kind of cool was the Model 3 SpaceX security car. In the foreground with the set of lights on the glass roof, and I thought very cool looking car.
That is, yeah. Now that's a SpaceX package they should sell right there.
Exactly. So some police departments could just take that car immediately as sets, I imagine. But that is pretty cool.
Definitely.
Let's go on to the next story. And what we've got here next is Tesla, of course, selling cars in many different countries and starting to roll the Model 3 in higher volumes in Japan. And what happened here is that recently Tesla had a huge price drop of over 20% in the price of the Japanese Model 3. And of course, that spiked demand, and people that were on the fence quickly got off the fence and ordered that vehicle, as we advise you to do so on this program. If you understand, if you like the price, the car's available, pull the trigger before something changes. And that's exactly what a number of Japanese citizens did, as they ordered the Model 3, and this huge spike happened. Now, there is talk about how Tesla is playing a little bit with the pricing here as time goes along. They always have. They've looked at incentive packages. They've looked at the ability of how to sell the car best. And they've made adjustments to their sales model in different countries at different times. And this is one of those cases where I think what is benefiting this as well is that they now, of course, have a factory in the region. The Shanghai factory is now being able to produce Model 3 SRs at a lower price. There was already a price drop in China, so this now followed over into Japan. Now, I'm not sure if they are. I know they're shipping the SR Plus to Europe. They may be shipping to Japan now as well. I'm not sure, but this is just another one of those things where Tesla is always watching the individual countries, what their pricing is, and what they're comparing that pricing to. What other vehicles are available in that market? And they had determined that this market was ripe to take a price drop and to increase the volume amount. And that's exactly what happened recently over the past month. So that was kind of interesting to watch. So again, Tesla, changes direction on a dime. And we know this, and this is just another example of that. So keep your eyes open. If you're after a car, you may have to move quickly. So next, Tesla becomes a tech partner, get this, in a nickel mine company. So
can't say he didn't warn us.
Yeah. So he's been talking. Elon's been talking that he wanted more mining of nickel, ethical mining of nickel, and he wanted more and more companies to provide so that they could purchase the mining rights of those different companies and what they're pulling out of the earth. Well, there is a location that's very rich in nickel, and it's called New Caledonia. And this is basically an island that's in the South Pacific. And it used to be a colony of France. It's now a territory, I believe, of France still. It has still some French control. But there was a very large mine on this island, and it had a huge amount of nickel reserves. And there was some controversy about this particular mine because it was so large and employed thousands of citizens, and there was a fight about, again, the French ownership of the island, and island wanting to become, basically self-governing. And this is now all embroiled into this. Mine had been shut down, and it had been closed for some time, and they were trying to open it up again. Tesla got involved as what they call a technical partner to help maybe identify some things that could be improved in the mining operation, maybe speed, maybe new technology, the ability to mine more effectively, and of course, having such a huge amount of potential nickel available to be mined from this location is something that if they're on board with the project, they become first in line to purchase nickel that's mined there. So we'll have to watch this story as it continues. There could be some unstable not workers, but there could be some unstable work, not conditions. What would you say? It's really an unstable political thing going on there, where there is this voice of separation from France. France is kind of holding on. It's something that all of us have experienced from Britain here in Canada, from Britain in the United States. There was that type of push-pull. This island is now going through that. So we'll have to see if they will continue to open this mine and if it starts to produce the nickel that they need. Next, Tesla launches a new social media platform called Tesla Engage. And I don't know if you guys saw this, if you checked it out, but it just seems at this point that there's a number of different posts that Tesla has made on this social media platform, and it looks like everyone has the ability to respond to those posts. But nobody at this point, besides Tesla, has made a post or is able to make another post. So it's right now it seems to be kind of handcuffed that only Teslas are allowed to put the topics on or the posts on, and then people are able to respond to that. So not sure if this is maybe just the first step and they will allow others to make their own posts, or if it's going to be kind of a walled garden where Tesla's going to say, here's what we would like to people comment on, here's the topic we would like to see responses to, and they'll place that in flux and allow people to answer that particular entry. It's too new at this point to really understand.
It's looking like at the very least inside each club you'll be able to have some discussions, but even there it's not yet set up. Like a couple of the clubs don't even have presence yet. One at least has been invited, but they have to complete the requirements. So now, it's the way they rolled it out was a little haphazard. But since it's apparently a popularity contest, my username is KSecret, all one word. I've seen people.
A popularity contest?
Well, I don't know. I see a lot of people dropping their link and people following them. So there's mine.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I'll have to go establish an account. Yeah,
I'll follow you.
I'll be friends in there. Yeah.
I haven't set one up for us yet, but I was reading some of the responses, and there were some people certainly setting up. I'm sure they got a ton of people that set up an account over the past couple days. But we'll have to see if there starts to be some, more free-flowing conversations. And I'm not sure if Tesla wants that. I really don't know. It's certainly you can. you can have trouble with things like that where it's tough to herd cats because everybody wants to go their own way. But if it's maybe it's a step in the right direction of taking surveys or presenting possibilities and what percentage of people like this idea over that idea. That would be nice to have a central place to do that instead of just Elon tweeting.
Hey, you know what? For our next story, we all could have answered Elon on their social platform.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Casey's got our next story, and this is a topic.
Before we leave the Engage thing, the other part of that is that they're shutting down the forums.
Yes.
So that was, I posted a few questions on there and got some good answers from the community. So that makes sites like the Tesla Motors forum even more important since Tesla itself is no longer going to be hosting forums. So let's give a plug to the Tesla Motors group, or Tesla Forum.
Motors Club?
That forum that's out there. That's,
TMC. Yeah,
TMC, and it has nothing to do with Tesla.com, the company. It's private. I mean, it's a bunch of enthusiasts. So that's for me. That's going to replace stuff I used to do on Tesla's forums.
And our friend Trevor.
Our friend Trevor Page, who has the Model 3 Owners Club.
The Tesla Owners Online now, isn't it?
Tesla Owners Online, as it sits today. You can get to it either way.
Yes.
But those two certainly have forums that are continually to be open and available to use.
And I know they're making them read-only. Are they also removing them, or?
I don't know. So read-only for now. That's all I know.
So what is this topic near and dear to your heart, Mr. Green, that you would like to discuss?
Updates! But this one is a very special update. It is the full self-driving city streets beta. And Elon very irresponsibly tweeted out, "Hey, who wants some? Come get it!" And nobody knew how to tell them that, hey, yes, I am interested. So,
people knew. It's just that they went everywhere. They were replying to everybody.
Yes. So
I think
first,
it was giving Tesla a big pile of money is how I told them I was interested.
well, there was that, yes, but to further, like on top of the money, to tell them, yes, I am still interested. Some folks responded to Elon. Some folks blew up Mr. Andre Caparte's Twitter. Some people emailed other various groups. A lot of us opened up service tickets, even though service doesn't do this. I mean, we're looking at the ways that this company that doesn't have phones anymore is actually able to listen to us, and it was like, just try them all. He didn't say what to do. Right. And so eventually the service centers were saying, why don't you email the early access group? And then apparently they told Elon, stop the emails. And so he put out saying that in about 10 days, so what's that, next Friday-ish, Elon time, we should have a button that shows up in our car under the service menu, under controls, so the little icon of your car, SX3Y. You hit that and then go to service, and there'll be a download FSD Beta, and you'll agree to the agreement, and the next time you're on Wi-Fi, the car will start downloading the update and install it.
Oh,
it'll download it, you'll install it later.
So this will be in the car?
Yes, it'll be in the car.
Oh, okay. So I assumed it would be in the app where you get upgrades and other... You can schedule service and that stuff in the app.
It doesn't mean it won't be there, but that's not what he said.
Oh, okay. Yes, all right. Say it again slower. Where is it in the car that I need to go look?
So in your controls menu, which is the icon of your car, then service, and then there will be a update to FSD Beta button, which once you click on that, it'll ask you some questions, it'll make you sign an agreement, and then it will... next time your car is on Wi-Fi, it'll begin to download. And then at that point, it'll be just like a regular update where you'll get the little yellow clock and you say, hey, I want this at 12 o'clock or I want it now, and then you're good to go.
Okay, cool.
Now also keep in mind that Elon had stated with the original tweet, he said that with version, was it 8.2? He was saying that they were basically going to double the number of FSD beta testers.
Yes.
Which we believe is at what number? What do we believe? Was it 1,000?
Yeah,
that's what we think it is.
Okay, so he was saying that they're going to double it to 2,000.
Right.
Then he indicated that the next update, they believe that they're probably going to do 100 times the amount of people on the beta system.
Yes, and Elon's already on that version, and that's why he said that about 10 days he feels that it's solid, and that it'll pass all internal validation to the point where they can reach out for that 100,000 people.
So that becomes 100,000 new people added to the list.
On top of the 2,000, 102,000.
On top of the two. So now we're at 102,000 people as of version 8.3.
Yes.
This is a huge ramp up. It's much larger. Maybe I was expecting it to be, just more limited as time went along, that it went from 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,500, not from 2,000 to 100,000.
That's exponential growth right there.
Yeah, exactly. Hockey stick growth.
Absolutely.
But that's amazing. If it, and again, we don't know the timetable. We don't know when 8.3 is going to be released. We know that 8.2 is supposed to be released shortly.
Right.
So,
yeah, they were rolling out every week, and now they've slowed down, and which is good because that means that they're not finding as many "you have to fix it right now" kind of bugs.
Right. What are you showing us, Casey?
So I ran a poll. I started this earlier today, about 8 hours ago. I said, "Are you going to click the FSD download beta button next week-ish?"
That is text.
It's what? Is it tiny?
It's really small.
How's that?
Okay, that's better.
Whoa!
There we go.
Too big.
Perfect.
Come back. All right, so are you clicking the FSD beta option next week-ish? And this is the responses so far on my channel. And so it looks like a lot of people are going to either do it right away or they haven't bought FSD. Then some folks are a little more cautious and they're going to do it after they see other people with it. And apparently 3% of the people are going to wait. I don't know. I wouldn't wait after paying for it, but that's on you guys.
Well, again, some of the people that have it may not be all that adventurous.
This is true.
They just want it to be perfect when they start to use it. I know that some people didn't check the box inside of their car to get the early releases, even though they had the ability to do so. So
I think those are 8%.
There's certainly people like that would rather have it completed and done and not have to worry about it. As opposed to something that maybe they have to put extra effort into keeping track of things.
Or worse, let's quote Elon here, it may do the absolute worst thing at the absolute worst possible time. That's paraphrased.
So I can see someone who either wanted it in their car payment or there was all this talk about maybe the price will go up. So they're like, okay, I want to lock it in now so that I know what price I'm getting or it's in my payment. But that doesn't mean I want to be a beta tester for it. So I could see that. It's not the camp I'm in, but I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially if they're expecting input, like we can see with the current beta testers, they got the little button that you can indicate when the car did something terribly wrong, and somebody can look at it later. So I can understand that might be too much work for some people, and they didn't buy the car for work; they bought the car to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, want to play with this AI robot.
I mean, the reason my car is named Tachikoma is it's an AI tank, and all it needs is the rest of the AI to live up to its namesake.
Right.
Yeah, with the warm weather here, I took the Model 3 out for a spin at lunch, and man, the car just never doesn't put a smile on my face when I take it for a spin. I don't know why. I've never had a car like that. That's here I'm coming up on 3 years now, and I just love it. Love taking it for a spin anytime I get a chance.
Yep, definitely.
Next, we got an update that's rolling in, an over-the-air update of 214.4.11, and what's kind of interesting here is that this has made a change to the regen ability of cold-soaked batteries. So as you know, if you drive in some inclement weather, if you do experience winter from where you're from, there can be sometimes when you get into the car and the battery's got a snowflake icon in the line where the battery is, and that indicates that the battery is quite cold, and you're going to experience not as strong regen braking. Well, this this particular improvement is trying to, I guess, improve the ability of the car to take in that energy into a cold battery that is obtained when you do regen, and make it a little better. Now, I don't know the exact amounts. Of course, I didn't see any huge difference myself when trying this, but it's already, as said. If I guess this is my second winter, full winter with the car, and I've just gotten to know that once it gets cold, I realize I'm going to be using my physical brakes. I'm not, I look at the regen bar that shows the little dots or the solid line, and I can know basically how much regen I've got from that little graphic depiction. And I've taken the stance that I know I have to use physical brakes going forward. I don't think they're ever going to eliminate that, but they're just trying to improve upon it, which is really the point of this whole story, is that Tesla doesn't seem to rest on any of this stuff. They're always looking for a little bit better. They're always finding something that can help them out. When we heard the talk about Elon talking about airbag deployment, they're still looking on how, when accidents occur, they can do better if they know the weight or the size of the person that's sitting in the seat, and they can adjust airbags based on that data back. Well, this is another example of that. This is where they've looked at what the cars are regenning at what temperatures, and what the conditions are where these cars are, because obviously they've got over 1 million cars now on the road, even just in North America, and all these different weather zones that these cars are sitting in. The data is still flowing back to the mothership, and they're looking at this information saying, if we made a tweak here, we could give people a little bit more regen battery or regen braking ability. And this story is just another one of those cases where they've taken that data that they're collecting, and they're using it to make the cars better that are already on the road. So hats off to Tesla. That's fantastic to see this still happening.
So I just went back and laid back my part of, obviously not my whole video at 37 minutes. I played back the first stop of the video on a cold battery. You can see the dashed lines, and you can actually see that the regen bar actually does go a little deeper than it normally does. So it felt normal. It felt the same to me, but I guess it felt normal as to a less cold battery than it was. So that's actually really cool.
Right. So they're certainly. It's good to see that they're improving this. Again, it didn't make a lot of difference for me, but maybe someone that's in a slightly warmer climate, they would see a bigger difference. But at this point, in my case, I'm pretty extreme with further north, get a lot of snow. So it is something that I didn't see a big deal in, but I applaud the ability to keep doing this. This is what no other car company does. Everybody else says, "Oh, you can buy next year's model if you want." Mm-hmm. These guys are actually continuing to modify and make it better for us that have already owned the car. In my case, coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, my favorite was my first Chevy Volt. They added the very next year the ability to see how much energy was going elsewhere in the car, and it was literally just they added a card. The car already knew all of this stuff because you could see it in your MPGs and everything, and then they're like, "Yeah, you can buy a new car. That's how you'll get it." I'm like, "I'll pay you for the update." No, you can buy a new car. That's your payment. I'm like, and then I ended up needing a new car because mine was a partial lemon. But I mean, that mindset versus the Tesla mindset.
I'll tell you, it was kind of interesting. I was at a Chevy Volt introduction for the Gen 2 because I had a Gen 1 and I do have a Gen 2 currently. But at that unveiling event at an auto show, they brought the car out, the second generation. They talked about the stats. They talked about the battery increase and blah, blah, blah. The first question that they went to the audience was, how do I get that in my current Gen 1 car?
Yeah.
And of course, the answer is
you don't.
You need to buy it. You need to buy another car.
Yeah.
So it's certainly us as consumers, we're looking for that ability, and it's really nice to see that Tesla has been, they're not miracle workers. They can't just, snap their fingers and it's done. But it is nice to see that they keep adding to the cars continually. In fact, even if you owned an older Model S or X, those cars are still seeing advancements and updates as time goes along as well. So
yeah, I just saw 2013. She got hers updated, and she's like, "Whoa, this is awesome! This thing's out of warranty by a long time, and it still keeps going."
Exactly.
And then even on my car, like they put in what they can. Like I can't get cheetah mode, but I did get the new launch mode, which is a lot easier to work than the old launch mode.
So yeah, so even pieces that your hardware can handle, you get updates. So great to see. Great to see.
Yep.
Next, just an update on what we have been watching here from afar. This, of course, is a Model S refresh that you can see has been loaded on a car carrier and looks like it's now out for delivery for some lucky customer who's put an order in for this. So at Fremont factory, there was a bunch of cars that were packed in one quarter of the factory. And I believe I even have a photo on our Twitter feed of that. Let me just scroll through a couple images here. There's one where it's showing a bunch of them together. And this one actually shows a possible jump seat, which is a rumor at this point. But here's the other one where we've got a bunch of them packed in together and getting ready for shipments. So good to see that that Model S, again, it was supposed to be delivered this month, and here we are, the 10th of the month, and some of them are starting to leave on car carriers. So all indications are looking good that some of those people are going to start to receive their refreshed Model S's. And we've seen some Model X's, just not as many as this pack of S's here in this particular photo.
Yeah.
So we will keep our eye on that, but they're starting to roll out, apparently.
It's exciting.
Exactly. Next, Patrick's got a story about another part of Tesla Energy. What's going on there?
That's right. So this is from Electrek. Fred Lambert writes, Tesla is behind a secretive big battery project in Texas. And we all saw what happened recently in Texas. They could use a little grid stability, so I'm happy to see this. And just to give you a little bit here, there's a couple excerpts from this. So it is in Angleton, Texas, which is about 40 miles south of Houston. And it's being done by a Tesla subsidiary called Gambit Energy Storage, LLC. So I did not know that Tesla even had this subsidiary. And it's interesting that it's called Gambit because there was a while where all of their robots were named after X-Men. So I wonder if there's how they have that connection there. But this battery, we're not exactly sure how big it is, but it's more than 100 megawatt of energy storage. So it's interesting that it says megawatts of energy storage. So megawatt without the hours would be power output, but then it says energy, which is
maybe it's a gigawatt hour storage with 100 megawatt hour or 100 megawatt output.
Yeah. So anyway, there's still a lot of details here unknown. Although it does say that a battery that size could power about 20,000 homes on a hot summer day. So they have some big air conditioners in Texas. A lot of homes even have two of them. So they're definitely going to be drawing some power. So this is not, going to save all of Texas. There's going to be a whole lot more of these big batteries that are installed around the country, around the world, around the continent. And it's great to see this getting out there. If you have battery projects like this, they help stabilize the grid. They allow for more renewable energy on the grid, fewer power outages. It's all good news. It's stuff that we need to get out there, and it's great to see Tesla deploying these.
And this was found through some good old-fashioned reporting by Dana Hull at Bloomberg, and her associates. And they had to actually connect the dots. It was very similar to how we found out about the two oil rigs that SpaceX bought, also under a subsidiary for the Starship launch platforms.
Right.
And it was a similar naming situation. It wasn't X-Men that time. It was like Phobos and Deimos.
Right. And you
Mars
know the
moons.
Mars connection. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that this was called kind of secret because, first of all, it was this shell company that was, a subsidiary that had done it. But also, apparently, some people went to the site just to kind of check it out, see what was going on, what was being built. And a lot of them were kind of shooed away. Get out of here. This is private property, blah, blah, blah. Keep moving. No, we're not answering any questions. And yet they were seeing some people that walking around, of course, with Tesla jackets. They saw some equipment with the Tesla logo. They seen other pieces of equipment where the Tesla logo had been covered up purposely. So it looks like they were trying to keep some of this quiet. For what reason, I don't know. Because certainly publicity seems to help Tesla in any of these aspects. So I'm not really sure as to why they wanted to keep it somewhat under wraps.
I mean, who knows who contracted it, and maybe that whoever they have got this contract with, they want to be the ones to release the information. They want to make a big PR, and if things leak out ahead of time, as we all know, Tesla, everybody wants to know what's going on, and they're highly scrutinized for exactly this reason, to get scoops and stuff. So good job, Bloomberg.
Kind of like how Tesla lost the Saudi investment before the MBS situation, so they got lucky with that one. But they didn't want to be in the public light, and so then once it became known who was backing them, they backed out. And similar with Apple and Kia. Like Apple likes to be the one to announce what's going on, so it looks like Kia might lose that contract because they announced it too early. So there are companies out there that like to keep their privacy.
Well, my advice to those type of companies is announce it as quickly as possible. Collect that nice PR, because the number of Tesla sleuths out there with an army of drones, you're not going to be able to hide it for too long. So if history is any indicator, just get it out early and get in front of that story.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Control the narrative.
Yes, indeed. If you haven't already, you've noticed that we've done some stories and connections to our Twitter feed. You can follow us through the week on breaking news at the Tesla Life on Twitter, and on our Facebook feed, the Tesla Life #1. Can be gotten there as well. Patrick, of course, narrates our Facebook feed, and we thank him for that.
Yeah, we had some SN11 pictures on our Facebook feed. So yeah,
exactly. We're keeping up to it. So if you want to stay informed through the week, follow us there on those two social media platforms, and you'll be up to date as well. Next, Model Y sales in China. Get this. Nearly triple in 1 month.
Wow.
And China, of course, is never ceasing to amaze us in the speed that they deliver and in the uptake of people for those cars. Because this particular story from Teslarati talks about how that there has been, in the case of the new SUV, they have some competition in China. It's NIO, I believe, has a luxury SUV as well. And this past month, after Tesla started to ramp up, and it's only been a couple months that the Model Y has been available there on that new production line, they have now started to pump them out in more volume, and they're being snapped up immediately by the Chinese public. And the car is selling dramatically well. And of course, they're not even at full capacity yet for making this. This line is still growing as time goes along. So we look for even higher amounts as they move a little bit forward. But looking at the sales in February compared to January, we had that almost tripling. And of course, looking at the other competitors, their market share is just starting to go down a little bit. So they're starting to lose a little bit. Now, China is a huge market. It's not small by any stretch of the imagination. There's lots of growth potential for everyone in that market. But it is great to see that the Model Y is catching fire there, as it has here in North America.
Don't say catching fire.
Batteries are fired. No good.
This can't be a true story. I heard that Tesla's losing market share. Obviously, they can't do this.
Yeah,
So-
can't be both.
Mark mentioned that the line isn't even complete in China. Well, not only is it not only complete, they're building a whole other factory right there next to the first one. So
That's right.
Exactly. So I got my fingers crossed that is the $25,000 car, hatchback or other design. But we don't know. We're just speculating on that at this particular point in time.
Yeah, you make a really good point about it being a big market. Everybody talks about the Tesla killer or that killer or whatever killer. And no, I mean, we talked about Apple earlier. You can have in the phone market, Samsung can have some of the market, Apple can have some of the market, others can play in it too, and it's a huge market. We don't have to have one winner. That's just ridiculous. That's not how it works. If you end up with someone with a monopoly like that, then they don't have competition, and they become non-responsive to their customers. And nobody wants that. That you end up with like some of the cable companies that have really, really bad reputations for service and other things. So yeah, we want competition.
Absolutely, competition makes everybody raise higher, get better, and provide wins for the consumer in all markets. So we certainly look forward to that and hope that will continue. Speaking of another plateau, Casey's got the final story about the infotainment system.
I sure do. Also, while we're at it, in the chat, Erwin was asking if we know what refrigerant is being used in the Model Y. Is it CO2?
We have no idea, Erwin. To put it mildly, I don't know. I have no idea.
We'll look into it.
Yeah, I know early on in the beginning of the Model S, Tesla was using some refrigerants that had some really bad environmental qualities, and they fixed that. I mean, much like taking the leather out of their interiors, they're doing a lot of little things like that to be more eco-friendly, not only in what fuels the car, but also in how they make the cars.
Yeah. So I think Mark's got some pictures of this, but we have reports of a Tesla Model S and X MCU3 leak. They say it's going to be powered by AMD Ryzen. If you're paying any attention, that's the new chip that was just launched for gaming and professional PCs, as well as the new Xbox and PlayStation, the new Xbox One and the new PlayStation 4. So it's got a little bit of horsepower behind it, if you will.
So is this the next step up, or is this like a number of steps up?
It's a number of steps up, because right now we started with NVIDIA Tegra, and then we went over to the Intel Celeron, and now we're looking at an actual gaming PC chip. And this is what they call an APU. So you've got a CPU and a GPU on board, and the GPU is alleged to be the Navi 23. So this thing will be capable of driving several full HD streams, which is kind of important when you've got two full HD screens in the car.
Right. So this is a step up to handle that extra ability you need of having two separate, basically computers running on separate screens that different people can control and do different tasks on.
Mm-hmm. And then with it being HD for each existing screen, I think that leaves a little bit of headroom for the Cybertruck's mirrors, because those are going to be screens as well. And so if you can run a couple 4K screens, then a couple of HD screens will be no problem.
Yeah. So again, stepping up the game. Again, we're releasing a refreshed Model S and X. Most likely the X is going to contain the same thing. But it's something that they're looking to take that next step so that they can keep that system in the car for a number of years. And it's maybe going to be connected with some other vehicles like Casey had mentioned. The Cybertruck could be one, semi, roadster, other things that could use that same type of architecture inside of them as well. Fantastic. Well, with that, let's do some shout-outs and go home. Patrick, what have you got to tell us this week?
Sure. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. My next blog post is going to be about how much solar energy we made in 2020.
Very good. And Casey, of course, Casey's making all the little ticker tape things going across the bottom of the screen. So he may look preoccupied, but he's really working hard here. We got him working like 3 different fronts all at the same time. Casey, what have you got for some shout-outs for us?
So I've been putting up videos like crazy over my channel at youtube.com/CaseyGreen. So just recently did a 37-minute deep dive into the latest Tesla software update, 2020.4.11. Yes, it was minor fixes, but Tesla likes to hide stuff in there, like we found with the battery regen situation. And I do go ahead and I break it up into chapters so that, if there's something particular you want to see, you can just zoom right into that. And then I did a couple of shorter videos, including what I call Tesla Puppy. The way I titled that one is, It Chased Me!
But did it catch you? That's the real question.
It did catch me. First it had to find me, and then it caught me.
Very good, very good. So check out those videos at CaseyGreen, youtube.com/KACEYGREEN. And with that, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, what are you waiting for? It's free. It's not going to get any cheaper. You may as well do it now to avoid the rush. So press that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. It helps us in the YouTube algorithm, gets us in front of more people's eyes, and that certainly would be appreciated and helps support the show. Also, if you like to listen to audio podcasts and would like to, you can get this podcast now in audio form on Apple. Podcast is available. We're looking at getting a few more set up, but at this point, Apple is the one that's up and running. So go over there and press subscribe. And they have their own rating system. Please give us 5 stars, and that helps us out again. So you're supporting us. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us get spread out a little bit further and into the universe a little bit further, more penetration, people finding out about us, and it's all good for us. So we would appreciate that help from you.
Absolutely. And if you're into manual podcast, you can find that at CaseyGreen.com/TTL. The TTL is all lowercase. And that will get you an RSS feed that you can follow, or if you want to listen to them right there on the site, that's right there for you. So you can have it in the background if maybe your bandwidth limited, or if you want to listen at work and your boss might come by and wonder what you're watching. They won't say anything about a radio show, but who are those dudes on your screen?
I know them.
That'd be cool.
Then you know you're okay.
Right?
Well, with that, we'd like to thank you for watching or listening to the show, and we will be back next week, and you can find out what's going on in the Tesla life. And we thank Lee Moon for the music we use every week. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Stay positive.
Good night, everyone.
Test negative.